Hello, this is Mrs. Neubauer, and let's work on our penmanship. All right, what has more letters than the alphabet? The post office. All right, our lesson goal for number 3 today is to learn the basic lines and shapes of most letters. Before we do that, let's do our warm-up. If you haven't already, you can pause the video and complete maybe a row or two, getting those hands warmed up with your circles and running ovals. Also, another way to warm up is to actually just use the air. So you could use the air and do some circles. You could go the other way. You can just do little circles with your fingers and the other way. Or you can do big circles. Get your whole arm going one way and the other. Now, just so your other arm doesn't get, you can also do both arms at the same time. Might be a little more challenging. All right, so warming up those fingers. Good. Okay, so either one you can warm up with. It's always good though to warm up with the one worksheet. So you might want to make a few copies of this because we're going to use this each day. Okay, so we're going to work on number 3, basic letter stems. If you have your sheet. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do straight vertical lines. So straight as your body can make. Put your arms up nice and straight if you want to stand up nice and straight. Okay, that's what our first letter stem. These letter stems are going to make up like A as an apple, B as in berry, D as in dog. So nice straight stem. That would be the stem with our letters. Okay, the next thing is we have horizontal. So horizontal goes left to right. So make some horizontal lines with your arms. We got horizontal lines. Good. Okay, the fourth row down is we have circles. Excuse me. Take a little sip of tea. Okay, so circles, create a circle. Circles with your hands might be a little easier if you're standing up. Nice big circles. Good. So circles are the first part of our letter E. We can also have a letter, we're making a letter D, and then we use our first letter stem, letter Q. So lots of circles. Obviously, the letter O is a circle. Okay. Next, we have on our sheet, we have diagonals. So diagonals we're going to have with like a letter V, letter W, V as in vet, W as in whale, and also tall ones. So let's make some diagonals. All right, maybe move your body too. Good. Diagonal lines. And the last one is a little bit tricky. Almost looks like a little bit of a curve on it. Curve and then straight. Curve and then straight. So you guys can try to do that with your hands. Curve and then straight. Try with the other hand. Curve and then straight. And that's going to make like the N's and the N H's. Okay. So hopefully not only warmed up, but we warmed up with our letter stems. Okay, so why would we be working on this? Well, we're working on this because when you were little, first thing you did was crawl. Then you started maybe walking, started slow, and then you started running, you started jumping, and you started dancing. Same thing here. This are kind of like a crawl right now. We're crawling, we're crawling, we're crawling. And then as we make letters, we start walking and we start running. Okay, so that's part of the reason that we're doing all these basic letter stems. All right, so you can get your worksheet and you can get something to write with. I'm going to change my camera. Okay. Okay, so take your pen and basically we're going to do half the page we're going to trace, and then you're going to complete the other side. So basically if you're right or left-handed, it doesn't matter. You might, if you're left-handed, you might have to move your paper maybe a little bit to the other way. If you're right-handed, you might need to move your paper back. So it's up to you. Now, remember when we hold our hands? Our hands on our fingers, we have 2 fingers and a thumb on our pen or pencil. We're not holding it like this. So please, 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 if that's how you learned how to write, you gotta retrain your fingers. Make a nice little, like almost kind of like a tripod, they say, like a triangle. All right, make sure you give me L, your head's back straight. You're not crunched over trying to look at your paper. Back's nice and straight and your arm has nice movement. Okay, so we start at the dash line and we're gonna go down to the bottom line and trace over what I created. Now I create all my worksheets by hand. They're not created by the computer, so that way you know that it is possible for you to also write by hand. You don't want to be clenching your hand. See how you're clenching? If you're clenching, you can see white. You don't want to see white. You want to be able to almost pull the pen or pencil out of your hand. Nice and light writing. What you're going to find is if you clench it, you're using a lot of energy and your hand's going to tire up really fast. Your opposite hand is just there for support. It's just nice to have. If you have your hand behind your back, it's really hard to write. The hand is going to hold the paper in place and kind of give it some support. You know, giving a pat on the back. Oh, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Okay. Okay, so when we get done, what you're going to do, try to stay in the lines the best you can. Okay. You get to the halfway point, now it's your time. So you're going to very slow and controlled do your vertical, nice straight up and down line. Okay, and you're going to continue on. You're welcome to pause the video if you want to continue. And then I'm going to work on the next row. Okay, so the second row is all the way from the top of our line to the bottom. So we want to make sure we're staying inside the lines. And the same thing, trace over mine for half the page. And then you're going to try some on your own. Now what we're doing here is it's called muscle memory. So muscle memory is for most exercises. So your muscle gets used to doing the activity. So say later in the day or tomorrow when you pick up your pen again, you are going to remember that muscle memory. And the muscle's going to be like, hey, I've done this before, no problem. Remember, our goal is we're learning the basic line shapes. And this is definitely used in a lot of our letters, our lowercase letters and uppercase letters. Okay, as you come through, you're going to start and then do your own. Right. And when you do them on your own, you might want to slow down a little bit. It's okay if it accidentally goes to the side a little bit, it's a little shaky. Just practicing getting that muscle memory. All right, so those are straight lines, vertical as we say, up and down. The third row, and once again, if you want to pause the video and finish up your row, otherwise that's what you're going to do for homework. The third row is our letter stems. Then maybe we can cross the T, the top of our eyes. Okay, so we're gonna start in the middle. And then we're gonna do in the top's gonna be in the middle. I'm not gonna have a line to go over. And the fifth one is at the bottom. All right, so we'll do some horizontal lines. All right, and try to do just like I did on the worksheet. Begin and end, just like I'm doing. And then check your posture, make sure your shoulders are back, make sure you're not hunched over. Check your hand, make sure you still have your triangle tripod with your pen. I always want to check yourself. You don't want to, as we say, make a habit that's going to be hard to break. Just starting your printing, you want to make sure you have good handwriting habits. Okay, so when you get done with the last part, now you're going to try it on your own. So remember to try it in the middle. So let's do 3 dashes. 1, 2, 3 dashes. We're going to do the one at the top, in the middle, air as we say, and then we'll do one at the bottom in the air. All right, give yourself a space and do 3 more dashes. All right, so if you want to pause the video here and continue, otherwise you're going to finish this up for homework. The 4th line is our O's. We've done quite a few O's with our warm-up sheet, but let's just do some more. So basically O's start at the top at your dash line. We're going to go to the left, nice curve, continue down to the bottom line and all the way back to the top dash line. All right, getting a little more challenging now, the curves. So trace over my O's, and if you can see, I made these by hand. So I am not a computer printer, I am a hand printer. So they're all going to look a little bit different. Sometimes maybe a little bit more oval, might be a little shake in it, that's okay. You're just trying to create your muscle memory because we're going to use O's a lot. O, obviously, an owl. We're going to use O for a P for pen. I showed you an O is part of an A for apple. B for berry has an O. All right. So when you get done, now it's your turn to try. Okay, so do your best. Remember to start at the top. You're going to curve to the left. Try to touch the bottom and curve to the right. The slower you can go, the better. And then make sure you're not clenching your pen or pencil. Check your hand. Make sure your shoulders are back. You're not hunched over, really concentrating on these O's. Okay, if you want to pause the video and continue, or if you want to wait and do it for homework, I'm going to work on the next row. Okay, now we have our diagonals. So for number 7 on our 5th row, we're going to go down, 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 and then I combined it so we do half. Well, I guess that would be half of a quarter, a quarter, 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 or half of 1 and half. Either way, you want to think about it. All right, so down, top to bottom. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing at the top. All the way down. This gets a little bit more tricky. Half of it is a lot easier than the full amount. And these are creating parallel lines. You kind of want to try to have the same space in between them, but if you can't do that, that's okay too. and try some on your own. The same thing for number 9 and number 10. This time you're going to go down to the bottom, down to the bottom. It's a little bit easier to go down when you write than to go up. Some people like to try both. It's up to you. Down, you could go down and then up. Down and then up. There's there's some guidelines for printing letters, but if you want to print a different way, that's okay too. I'm just showing you the way I think would be easiest to write. Okay, once you get done with the tracing, then you're going to try some on your own. Okay, the last set is that curve with a straight line coming down to make our letter N, M, H. So we're going to come up, touch the top, and then try to straight all the way back down to the bottom. Curve, touch the dash line. Sorry, I said that top, the last one. Touched it. Don't go all the way to the top just yet. Curve, touch the dash line to the bottom. Dash line or the center line. Okay, when you get done tracing, and you're going to start some on your own. You might have to move your hand as you go. It gets a little bit tricky when you're writing at the bottom of the paper. And be careful, it might move around a little bit. Okay, so done a lot today. And I just want to remind you of our goal. I feel like we accomplished it so far. We figured out what our letter stems are and our shapes. For the rest of the day, you're going to, and for homework, as we say, all right, you're going to work on completing the letter stems to fill in the rows. So if you paused the video as we went, then you might be all done. But if you didn't, then you're going to go back and finish up row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Great, so thank you so much for your handwriting today, and you're doing a really good job. Keep on practicing, and remember, it's all about progress over perfection. Have a good day.